Like you clean the glass on your camera.
Brewsing Banter Podcast. Banter Podcast. Brewsing Banter Podcast. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Brewsing Banter Podcast. I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, is the Legendary Brew Crew. What up, fellas?
I was reading this weekend.
Mama.
Nah, it doesn't taste like dirt.
My name is Lou Belgium, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm wondering.
Does Delaware have an actual culture? This is the podcast that we talk about beer, but we also talk about a lot of things that's happening in the world, politics, movies, anything really that comes to our mind while we're here sampling these brews. Grab a drink and pull up a chair.
Ooh, we love you, Brewsing Banter Podcast.
See it on your face. It's on my hand too. On the waste of all the time.
What up, what up? Welcome to Brewsing Banter Podcast, where the topic is the rockin' and the brew. Well, I'll be the fuel. And I'm your host, Rob G. And with me, as always, the Legendary Brew Crew. What's going on, fellas?
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
I'm back, baby. I got the board.
Hit something. Hit a button.
Press something, but just do
Hit a
it.
button. Hit a button.
Clap the horn.
We ain't been in normal studio form in a couple weeks. Welcome.
This is episode 270 of Brewsing Banter Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, welcome.
Hello.
For all our bruisers and bruisettes that are returning for another episode, a nutritious episode of Brewsing Banter Podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
No,
No,
not delicious
Not
and
delicious
nutritious.
and nutritious because did not eat nothing.
Oh, we definitely ate.
What?
My daughter would be proud. We ain't eating nothing, but we sure did eat. We ate, baby. All right, whatever.
No, we didn't see that TikTok. Sorry.
I said it. You know how they say that you ate. Oh, you ate
I
that.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, you sounded real
Who was this?
45. You sounded
Right. I was
old.
going to say, real sound old, creepy.
Oh,
man.
45? Oh, sorry, no. Just joking.
That's cold. It's cold 45.
Can we
I said
just
cold.
start-
You said old 40. You said old.
I didn't say old.
I thought you said old too, but whatever.
I'll say yeah.
Hey, move on.
Your ears are,
My ears are-
not working.
They're old.
Well, we do have a great guest with us this afternoon, this morning, this evening, whenever you listen or watching the podcast. So we're just going to jump right in and bring Meredith Rebar to the podcast.
No, I hate the tone change.
What?
You get your board back and you start acting a fool, man. What's normal?
What's the problem? I didn't say nothing.
You out
So
here
we're
ate.
gonna-
You out here- I ate today. Did y'all eat? We ate. I didn't eat, but I ate. So today you just
Today we're going to get to our guest.
Yeah, if you've been in the Philadelphia area and you've attended one of the finer beer events or cider events, they probably had something to do with it. So I want to bring Meredith Rebar from Home Brewed Events to the podcast. We bring her in.
Welcome.
Sorry for the
Welcome.
delay because they were critiquing my intro.
Amazing.
The delay was because your intro was whack.
Was it?
Yeah,
Or was it superb?
It shouldn't have training wheels. You had training wheels on. You take the
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. No, I
Right
didn't.
on.
Y'all
Kind
were
of.
interrupting my
Your training?
intro.
Yeah, your training.
Y'all were interrupting my
Interrupting your training.
my intro. So you were the guys. So you never interrupt the introduction while we're introducing the guest. That is podcast 101. All right,
Tell
I
me one.
digress.
Yeah, digress. Go ahead and digress.
I want you to shut up.
Digress your ass off.
Well, man, we are glad you are here. But
Yes.
before we get into everything, we always like to know what everybody is drinking on. So, what are we drinking today? And we always start with a guest. So, Meredith, what are you drinking today?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna try to get it towards the camera. There we go. So this is Requiem Select. So Kevin, who works at Human Robot, and then also Josh, he used to be head brewer at Bond Place. They started a new brewery called Requiem, and this is the first beer that they released. So it's a light lager, very delicious, very easy drinking. Also, I really do love the can label. That very like old school lettering, very straightforward. But yeah, very easy drinking, lots of fun. And their second beer came out at Hidden River, which I live within walking distance of in Douglasville, Pennsylvania. And that was like a hazy IPA. So those guys are killing it.
Okay.
Did you? I'm sorry, Meredith. Did you mention that ABV?
No, it is. No, I don't know. I'm guessing 4.5 to 5%.
Yeah, you said easy drinking. We'll go with that.
You have it in the glass. Let me see it. I can tell you what it is.
Oh yeah. Let Yoda see it in the glass. He'll be able to tell you exactly what that ABV is. He has a good eyeball for ABV.
It's
It's
just
really
good.
weird. It's really weird though. It's so close all the time.
That's awesome.
It's so strange. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid.
All right, what you drinking on?
Well, I got from our friends over at Dewey Bier. I have the Tröegs lemon meringue pie.
Nice. I love Dewey.
Me
What
too.
a cool destination brewery to get to on the beach.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely. But this is it tastes like a lemon meringue pie. It's like, I tried to show you what it looked like in a glass, but
It's nothing in there.
I drink it. I'm pouring some more. See? Look at that lemony. It's kind of darker than a lemon. The lemonade would be, but it's
maybe that's like that's like
thick,
the crust,
but not real thick.
That's like
right.
The drink and the stillage.
Yeah, it definitely has that. You can taste the lemon in the crust, like that doughy kind of like at the bottom of that pie there. Yeah, so good, right? So it's so tart. It go, and then it go right because it's tart and then it's sweet. So
it's like Sour Patch Kids.
I love it.
Yeah.
But only more like more crumbly.
More
more crumbly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you
Because it almost tastes
smell,
like,
what's the smell like?
You know,
what's the smell like? Is it bready or lemony or both?
It smells more bready than anything. It smells like a pie crust.
Okay.
It doesn't. I don't necessarily even smell the lemon in it. Maybe a hint of lemon. But yeah, real pie crusty. And I mean, you get all you want out of it. So they named it right, and it's delicious. I would pass me another one of these. I didn't say the ABV. The ABV is 5.2% on this joint.
All right. Lou, what you got?
I too have a Dewey Beach Thrills. This is actually the Thrills Kills version. Kills is shit. There it is. From a distance. Y'all get the hint. Y'all know what we're doing. Kills is the 2024 version of their Halloween Thrills. Every year they do the Kills. And this year they did the Kills, and it is a blood red blend with strawberries, sweet cherries, dragon fruit, and raspberries. And by happenstance, this is a collaboration with the Brewsing Banter podcast. Rob, and Yoda. It is very, very red, very blood red. That's what it looks like.
Damn. Okay.
Yep, it's thick. It's like it's very sweet. It's very sweet. Thrills is always sweet. Like he said, his meringue is very sweet. This tastes like smells like cherries and strawberries to me. It tastes like those things with a little hint of the candy sugar, whatever that like Red 9 or like Gum 88, whatever that ingredients that be on the back of candies. It got some of that in it too. But this is delicious, man. Like anybody who doesn't like beer and is trying to introduce themselves into beer, but like some sweet shit, like this is a very good gateway beer to try. Pass me another. 4 down.
Should you sip some and let it drip out your mouth, out the side of your mouth like a vampire?
Off camera, I did do that. I may or may not have pictures of myself, but no one on this show will see those pictures. So.
Okay.
You better not. You better not have pictures.
You disembodied voice, come back. Don't.
I heard that. You better not have no pictures, boy.
You ain't want to come back. Came back for that.
You definitely got pictures then.
Yo, if he got pictures, they in the cloud, and that mean they everywhere.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Rob, what are you drinking?
I got the Cosmic Coast. It is the collab from Soul Mega that they did with the Port City and Stone Brewing. It is a India Pale Ale brewed with lemon peel and Thai basil. So there you go. It's a Cosmic Coast. Light. It's not. I was about to say it's light, but it is 7%. So it's not really light, but it is it's easy to drink. It's not super hoppy, even though you would think. Because it's almost closer to, it's definitely not real hazy. It's more traditional to the West Coast, but it's not hop bomb at all. It's still citrusy, but not real piney. So it's a real easy drinking IPA. It smells delicious as for Lou. That smells delicious.
I know it did. They always do.
So shout out to Soul Mega, as he says, as they say, the best brewery on the planet. So I'm gonna pass me another. It is delicious. All right. So everybody's drinking on something. So we are excited to know or get into how you got into craft and beer events and all that stuff. So once again, we want to welcome Meredith to the podcast. And like they always say, the proverbial floor is yours.
Well, thank you.
You always say that.
That's yeah. I mean, I fell in love with beer in college. I went to Penn State, which is a party school. But there was a beautiful bar up there that reminded me a lot of Zeno's, or we call Zeno's, but it reminded me a lot of Monk's. Just really good beer selection. They had a beer Bible and beer passport that you could like check off all the cool stuff to try. So
I'm gonna stop you right there, Meredith. What's a beer Bible? What's a beer Bible? I've heard of a passport. What's the Bible?
It was just like every beer that they ever had, and they would just keep adding to it. So it was really cool. So not just a menu on the menu. It was just like a time capsule of every single beer that they ever served.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a whole lot. So.
But yeah, I just made friends with the bartenders and wanted to know why the beers tasted the way they did, why they looked that way. What changed the alcohol content, what made it an IPA, what made it a lager, like just the basic, questions that you have, and really just wanted to explore. And, I kind of fell in love with the idea of fermentation, and like you have the same kind of base ingredients, but you can do all of these cool, amazing things, like everybody drinking tonight, like has something totally different. But they all start with the same base ingredients and same base process. So it's kind of cool. And then started home brewing because I wanted to further experiment into fermentation and understanding beer and the process. And I really fell in love with the idea of like making things, being creative and trying out all of these crazy recipes. Kind of jumped ahead really fast. Like I made one kind of normal beer and then I was like, cool, let's try a whole bunch of stuff. Made like a Mexican lager. And then like, I was like, cool, that's easy. And then made a Mexican chocolate stout with like fresh jalapenos. which may have been more ambitious than I should have done because it tasted like metal.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm about to say, it
All right.
sounded like it would have been delicious, but it
Oh,
tastes like
Yeah,
well,
it had potential for sure.
if you've ever like had jalapeno seeds, like just the seed, it's very metallic. It can be very metallic, and that's really all that I could taste. It just like totally took over the whole beer.
Was it
Um,
hot?
So at that point, it didn't really even have like much else to it. It was just like that kind
Just
of like
metal.
just metal. You're just like licking metal, and you're like, nope, this is not good. But
So did you try it again and remove the seeds?
so I actually just like I never made that recipe again, but I put the bottles in my closet and I forgot about them for a year. And I pulled one out a year later and it had my like so much more mellow and actually was like
Oh,
so it just took a
okay.
year for that like very awful flavor to go away to
Nice.
let the chocolate and spice come through.
Yeah.
Cool, accidental, like got there in the end.
Yeah, because
But
you
it,
should have trashed all them bottles right away.
Right, the fact that you went back and tried to drink it
Yeah.
again.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's part of the
I
experimentation.
forgot I had you.
Let's see what they taste like right now.
Before I threw it fully out, you know, had to see if it may have gotten better, and you know what, it did.
Oh, there you go.
What, Meredith, keeping with your timeline when you're doing these homemade beers, are you still in college or have you graduated?
So at that point, I had graduated, and
Yeah,
I
okay,
lived
okay.
a year in Penn State area. I got a job out of college, actually working for PNC Bank, which is kind of silly at this point because that was not related to anything else that I've ever done ever. But it was fun. I did like bank promotions, so I did like event pop-ups for PNC, which was interesting. Um, but then I got a job in Harrisburg working for the American Cancer Society, doing fundraising. So I did like Relay for Life events, Daffodil Days, and then I was able to do like my own events for fundraising. And that's when like I started doing beer tastings and like pairings to raise money for the American Cancer Society because I knew people enjoyed trying a bunch of stuff, and I got a chance to host people and talk about it. And that's where I kind of like the initial seeds of like Home Brewed Events started because I really just liked talking about beer and really sharing an experience with like a small group of people. And I also started working at Tröegs because I wanted to really get into the beer industry. And I really have to thank Tröegs for really laying the groundwork for a lot of my like formal education in beer. Because at that point it was like just reading a bunch of books, trying a bunch of beers, talking to a bunch of people, home brewing. So kind of a DIY, you know, learning. But Tröegs was the first like formal education. They did everybody was a like not certified cicerone, but the beer server.
Right.
So you had to do the cicerone program. We would do weekly training sessions, tastings, sensory, which was amazing. You got to shadow brewers and shadow different people in different departments. Because I was just working in the tasting room at the time. And it was just really cool to see and experience what else is out there for the beer world. So I knew eventually I wanted to be a brewer, but it would take me another probably I think it was another 5 years from then to be a brewer. But yeah, that was really cool. Learned a lot. Helped them move from Harrisburg, downtown Harrisburg, to Hershey. Have you guys been out to their new spot in well, not new anymore, but in Hershey area?
I have
I
not.
drove by it.
Hey, I have too. I've done that. I've done that, bro.
It's worth going. It's huge. It's such a huge space. And you can actually like the tap room, the bar is right in front of the brew house. So it's such a cool setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Really.
definitely got to make our way up there and hang out for a little bit.
It's worth
agree.
it's fun.
Yeah.
And they do the scratch series, which is like their small barrel, like I think it's like 10 barrel system. They get to do like small batches on they're up to like 600, 800 recipes from the time that they opened. So
That's
it's always
wild.
and then the
Well,
number.
they have a beer Bible. Wonder if they
They
keep a beer
need,
Bible.
yeah, they probably do.
I know that they have an archives of like all the beer that they've ever made, but I wonder like how many bottles and if they ever do a tasting of them.
Yeah.
Revisit like
Yeah. Do they have 800 bottle? Yeah, one bottle of every beer that they have ever made. They just keep to the
Or they
side.
go on the vault from the first opening and say, "Oh, here it is."
yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it was fun because like they would use that kind of as a test run for other recipes. So some beers that have been released have started on the scratch system and then got to be like an actual like release with them. But yeah, I love Tröegs. I only stopped working at Tröegs when I moved to Philly because it was too far of a commute.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
I did stay working there for about 4 months after I moved, only on weekends, and I was like, I can't keep doing the
Wow.
2 hours this way, 2 hours that way.
Yeah, the fact that you did it at all is hey,
Right.
salute.
4 months.
Give it up.
That's great.
Working for them, but it was just too much driving. But I like to go back and visit, and I still like talk to a lot of the people that I worked with, which is fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we just like bonded because opening such a huge place like that was such a cool experience. Because it was such a small. If you think of like the yards kind of glow up, it was like their
Right.
old space was really small, like space wise for the tap room, and then they go to this huge space. It's like that, like it went from that kind of really small to huge space. So the amount of like learning curves and like changes and things that they learned was huge. So it's just like we bonded over just like pure chaos for like 6 months.
Yeah. It seems like that.
Trying to navigate, and like the amount of people that came through that tap room, it's insanely busy because it's like right down the street from Hershey Park. So you were
Right.
busy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Now it seemed like events was always I guess the natural progression. Were you that what you went to school for, like marketing and stuff like that? Is that what you always wanted to do? Not necessarily in beer, but just event planning and stuff like that?
I always enjoyed creating a fun experience for people. It originally was music.
Okay.
Back in high school, I would book my friends' bands. I would, rent the fire hall and do the flyers and do, money at the door, check people in, that kind of stuff. I always wanted to be a musician, but I'm not musically inclined. So like I can be, I can be
Artist
organized.
adjacent. Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, I booked shows all the time in high school, and then it continued into college. I made friends with a bar called the Brewery in State College, and it's not a brewery at all. It's very much a dive bar, which is funny now that I'm in the beer world. But that was the first place that I booked in State College, and eventually I brought some big bands through just by being like, hey, this is a great area. There's hundreds and thousands of students here. You should come play here. So getting to work with some bands that I really loved and appreciated. So I really like thought I was going to go into the music industry like full time, but I don't know, something about beer just like completely took me that way. But at one point in Harrisburg, I was working at the Abbey Bar booking shows and events for them, which is Appalachian Brewing Company. So that was like the only one that was like crossover of both. So I was working at a brewery and booking shows. That was a really cool, magical time for about 2.5 years. So yeah.
You've been in the game.
I was about to say, like, it's a lot of 2.5 year, 5-year increments, 6 months here, 18 months there.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know how I did this at one point in Harrisburg when I was living there. I was working full time for the American Cancer Society. I was working for Tröegs, and I was booking events and concerts at the Abbey Bar. So I basically had like 3 almost full-time jobs. So I'm like, well, early 20s energy, woo.
Right. Well, now I'm curious to know what's the biggest band you booked. I'm curious to know.
So I in Harrisburg, I got partnered up with a production company called Greenbelt Events, which I like. It was a really great time in my life, and one of the founders ended up passing away, Mike Vanjera. So I just really like cherish those times together. But he was a very big music person. He got me into a lot of bands, but I booked like Rah Rah Riot. I worked with Henry Rollins, who's like spoken word artist, and then also he's in Black Flag. He's also been in a lot of movies. The Abbott Brothers, like bluegrass.
Okay.
Yeah, like just a bunch of cool stuff. The Hold Steady, kind of in the like punk indie genre.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really
That's dope. That's
yeah. I
cool.
got to work with the Menzingers, which is a Pennsylvania punk band that's like blown up. They're beautiful, lovely humans. But I booked them on their first couple tours, and then in Harrisburg as well. Still keep in touch with them. Tom actually is a huge fan of cider, so which is
works
awesome.
out.
I ran into
Now, do you ever get the itch of like, hey, let me try that again? Like, do you ever get the itch of like, oh, let me start booking bands again and stuff like that? Do you ever get the feel like
Yeah.
you revisit it?
I do. I mean, most of my events, like even the beer festivals and stuff, there's always a music or entertainment part of it. So, even like Log Jammin', we have either a metal band or a cover band or like some kind of live music. So it's nice that I get to incorporate music into a lot of my events. This past weekend, I got to work with my friend Ian, who's called the Punk Cellist. He plays cello covers of punk songs and indie and like emo songs. So he's
I
really
can dig
fun.
it. I can dig that. I'm
What
down
Yeah.
does
with
that
that.
sound like? I gotta hear that. That sounds
Yeah.
crazy.
Check him out, the Punk Cellist. But we did a kickoff for Philly Cider Week at Human Robot Schuylkill Banks. Had a dance party. He played. People wore costumes. We had a bunch of cider from Hale and True and Plowman. It was just a fun night. Tons of Halloween candy. But yeah, he's fun. And he's played the last 3 years of cider festivals, which is normally around this time as well. This year, Cider Fest did not happen, but the last 4 years since pandemic, we've had it in October to kick off Philly Cider Week.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when did you decide? Once you made it, did you start? I guess while you were in Harrisburg, did you start Home Brewed Events while you were there, or did that happen once you got to Philly?
So it happened in Philly. So I met somebody in Harrisburg, and we ended up getting married. And he moved to Philly with me, and we started Home Brewed Events together.
It's
So-
just say it like that.
That's so nonchalant. That's so I met somebody in Philly.
We ended up getting married.
I married him. Moved him to Philly. Yep.
Yeah, he moved. I moved in. We're no longer together. We are divorced, but
That's why she just met. That's why.
That's why she said it like that. I just met
Yeah.
the person in Philly. I married him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it happens.
Divorce. He's gone.
Yeah.
He ain't like beer enough.
No,
Like these concert bookings here, like none of this shit. I took the Home Brewed Events and let them keep the cat.
I mean, we started it together, but like I was the one that took it to making it full time.
Nice.
So it was something. Again, we started together. We started doing in-home brewing classes, so like teaching people how to brew. So we bring all the supplies, brew a beer with, if like somebody's doing a birthday party or a housewarming, or just want to like get people together. And then they would get to keep the beer. We give them all the stuff to bottle it. It was a lot of fun, but it was like very tedious, a lot of work, kind of a lot of overhead costs because you had to buy all the great ingredients and like, supplies. And then people are like, oh, I don't want to keep any of this stuff, so it's just kind of very quickly switched beer tasting. Also, people can very much like just mess up the beer if you're not watching them. So, you're kind of
and now the name actually makes sense now. The name makes it Home Brewed Events. I get it.
Yeah, it's
it works both ways, but because where it started at was brewing, actually home brewing type of thing. It works both ways. So that was an ingenious name. That was a good name.
It's and I've considered changing it over the years because like that was like 2013, 11 years
Wow.
later, very, very
Yeah.
different, time right now. But I love it. Like I'm very thankful that I came from a home brewing background, and I'm thankful that like I feel like a lot of people aren't going through that like phase anymore. I feel like that was very popular around that time and like has lost popularity. So I don't want to like take away from my roots, like I was a professional brewer, but I got there because I started brewing in my kitchen, in like a tiny apartment, like I I respect that.
Yeah.
That it's a part of my life. Very thankful for it.
Mm.
So, yeah. But yeah, I started doing home brewed events full time in 2016, and then have been doing it full time since then, which is kind of crazy.
That's a round of applause. That's a long time. That made
Yeah.
you made it through the pandemic and everything. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
that
do-
was tough.
yeah, I
just-
can imagine.
That sounds like a lot
Oh,
of event planning.
go back though. How does one go from doing whatever you was doing in 2015 to like I'm doing this full time in 2016? We could talk
yeah.
about how you maintain later, but how do you even what's the jump?
So in Philly, I started working for Requiem, which is a beer wholesaler. Now they're part of 31st and Morton and Requiem, but I was working in the marketing and sales department. I got a chance to meet a lot of people in Philadelphia. That was my introduction to, a lot of people that I still really call close friends now. Working with them, highlighting their breweries, attending events, promoting, hosting our own events. Then like I actually got laid off from Meriglio in 2016 because they were merging with Bella Vista. So they had bought Bella Vista to turn it into 31st and Wharton. So the entire marketing department got laid off and they restructured. So I was like, well, shit, now what? What am I going to do from here? So I started brewing at St. Benjamin's with Andrew and then switched over to doing full-time homebrewed events, part-time brewing for 3 years, which was really cool. So, my main income was homebrewed events, doing classes, doing events, doing beer festivals. At that point, I ran Second Street Festival in Northern Liberties, just lots of big events throughout the city.
Mm.
And
Now, I don't know if anybody else asks this question, but I always hear when people, anybody that I talk to that does any type of festival, always says it's a pain in the ass. Why is that? And what makes it a pain in the ass?
you have to really love it because it kind of like consumes your life, for a while. So basically, like with an event like Street, it is a year-round process. Like as soon as you finish the event, you're already starting to plan for next year. Now I do like go races with Sly Fox, log jamming with Human Robot. We start planning those 4 to 5 months out from the event. So you're basically working on something for almost half a year before the actual event even starts. And there's just a lot of moving pieces to it. And a lot of details, and you're basically, as you're getting closer to the event, trying to solve all of these problems or prevent any problems from happening. And it's a lot. I mean, it's pages and pages and pages of things that you have to do before the event, even like the day of shows up. And then day of the event, you're problem solving. Like one year we couldn't even get like the app that we use for the check-in wasn't working. So we're like, well, okay, we got to figure it out like right now because we got to get people through the door. So you have to like think on your feet. You have to be very able to pivot. You have best laid plans. Sometimes they don't work. And just really like stay on top of it and keep calm. Like you have to be the calm person in the scenario. You
I'm out. I'm out. I can't do it, guys. I can't.
like we got this. Everything's fine. Very like, okay, we're gonna solve this. And then you have, because people are stressed out, you have people that are really upset or stressed out, and you have to be the like, everything's okay. We're gonna fix this. Don't worry about it.
Does the planning get easier as you do more, or is it still?
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, it's funny because it's like, I do events for 5 people, and then like Second Street Festival and the Kensington Derby and Fishtown Feast of Ale are all like 30,000 people. So it's like you do an event for 5 people, you do an event for 30,000 people. It's similar mechanics. It's just it's a lot bigger scale. So in some ways it gets easier every year. I'm like, have spreadsheets and checklists and resources that I've created over the years that I reuse, event to event. But every event's different, and like every venue is different. Sometimes I'm in charge of everything, and then sometimes I'm only in charge of certain things. So it depends on what the event is and what you're doing with it, and the venue and the vendors, and everything's a little different. But I really love the challenges with it and the diversity of the events that I do. So I like the challenge.
Now I'm curious, what was it? Is it your organizational skills that made you that you event plan made you a better brewer, or was it because you were a brewer make you a better event plan, especially when it comes to beer festivals, or vice versa? I don't know.
I'm very thankful that I got a chance to brew, because that was a goal of mine, when I originally started in beer, like 2008, which is wild. I'm going to be a brewer. I don't know when and I don't know how, but it's going to happen. So it was amazing to really understand that. But because I still, the big events are what brings in the most money for me. And I have about 12 to 15 to maybe up to 20 of those a year. But during the other times of year, so it's like spring and summer and then fall are busy. But I do beer classes throughout the rest of the year. And the fact that I was a brewer, I have a better understanding of how beer is made, all the different steps that go into it. I can talk about it. I've sold malts. I worked for Deer Creek. I've done a lot of things within the beer industry, and being able to be like, I know exactly how that's done, and I know exactly why this beer is exactly how this is. It's really nice. And I love education, and actually part of why we originally started Home Brewed Events was to educate the consumer. So going back to when I was sitting at the bar trying to figure out why beer looked and tastes the way it does, wanting to share that information with people so that they can order a beer that they liked. They can be excited about it, they can understand what flavors they want in a beer, what flavors they don't want in a beer, that kind of important thing.
At this point, you might consider changing your last name to Beer, because you've done pretty much she worked with distributors, brewers, events, pretty much. She said malts, everything. All you need is go to Yucca, I guess, and do hops. I guess you just gotta do.
I haven't sold hops.
You've grown them. You have grown your own hops, though, haven't you?
Yeah, backyard.
Yep, I know.
Like what I'm talking
that kind of counts. That counts, Rob.
That's what she does on her downtime. Because I'm wondering where the downtime is at. Like, it seems like, where's your fun? Do you have any like you fun and not working fun?
I enjoy it. Like, it's a social. Once it's funny because it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours into the event, but not quite. Like, there's a beautiful time where you can just and just enjoy it and just walk around that's
when you start giving sparkle glitter out to people.
Yep.
When there's 1 hour left in the festival.
It's like, hey guys, you want some sparkle paint? Here, take this.
1.5 to 3 hours. That's the beautiful time. And then the last hour is you're starting to get ready to clean up. But that beautiful time, you kind of look around and you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Now we won't tell anybody. What is your favorite event to plan? No, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna...
Yeah, no,
she looks like she won't.
I'm gonna say all of them.
Ooh, that's not true.
No, I really I appreciate who I work with, and I am lucky that I get to be selective in who I work with. That is a privilege that, you know, I'm very thankful for. You know, I get to work with Human Robot. They're amazing. Those guys are some of the best people that I've ever met in the industry. They care, they get it. You know, they want to do these events to better the industry. You know, log jamming is one of those. And then Oktoberfest as well. You know, for part of Oktoberfest is we clean up the block. You know, like it's in Kensington. It's not always maintained. You know, like we give back to the community in that way. And also log jamming is a fundraiser for the Michael Jackson Foundation, to help, you know, diversity and inclusion within the industry, you know, through scholarships and education, which is amazing. This year we were able to raise $15,000 to donate to them. The last couple of years it's been 5, so it's been a huge jump up, you know, this year, which is awesome.
Next year 30, huh? Put it out
hey
there.
We got more sponsors this year than we've had in the past, and that's where we're going to start making more of the money. So hey, any sponsors out there? Do you want to sponsor log jamming? We're already looking for next year.
It's an incredible event, so definitely sponsor. Hop on board.
Yeah, I always like watching. Is there any other festivals that you do that go to charity?
A lot of them do actually, or are tied to nonprofits in some way. So the Sly Fox goat races, which is a lot of fun. Have you guys ever been to that one?
No.
Every time I see it, I'll be like, goats? It
Wait,
looks like it's fun,
here?
but yeah, it's actually goat. They're actually racing. It's actually a goat race.
Oh yeah, we gotta go to that.
We have 30 to 40 goats, and they do heats and they run. And then there's always crowned winner of the goat race. And they're the name of the Bach beer that is released. So the last 4 years has been Princess Jenny. This year, Walter won. So Walter is the new crowned goat, the king. But that one is a fundraiser for Pottstown Pals, which is the police association, also the SPCA. They come and they bring adoptable puppies. In the last 3 years, all the puppies have been adopted that day, which is cool. So fundraising, and then also for them. Made on American Street, which is Punch Buggy and Wissahickon. That was a fundraiser this year for Legacy of Hope and Pink Boots Society. So Pink Boots advances women and non-binary individuals within the beer industry, which I'm the co-chapter leader for Philly. So great organization. Legacy of Hope helps families go through cancer treatment, which is also near and dear to my heart. So 2 wonderful organizations as well. So yeah, most of them have a nonprofit charity aspect to it, which coming from, I mean, my first, like, other than PNC, my second job out of college was working for the American Cancer Society. So nonprofits, and specifically helping, you know, cancer patients or cancer families. You know, this is important to me.
Nice. I'm always curious to know when you're throwing an event, or when like someone calls you and say, "Hey, Meredith, we need you to craft us a new event." What is the, I guess, the thing that you can be like, "Oh man, that's going to be tough"? Is it logistics, or is it the actual idea, or do you come up with the idea, or they just give you the idea and you try to mold it to make it work?
Yeah, so it depends on, you know, I probably have about 1 to 3 new events a year. So, you know, new people that I've either not worked with before or new events itself. So like the emo dance party, that was a new event for this year for the kickoff for Philly Cider Week. It replaced Philly Cider Fest. But that was kind of an interesting one. But sometimes the hardest part for an event is finding the right location, unless it's going to be like on site. You know, for log jamming, it took us a while to find Cherry Street Pier. The first one happened at Newman's on American Street in the parking lot. And then ever since then, the last 3 years, it's been at Cherry Street. But we knew the size of event that we wanted, but there's not a lot of venues that are mostly affordable in the like 1,000 to 2,000 range,
Right.
You know, that aren't booked up for weddings every weekend, or, you know, have a unique appeal to them. So yeah, sometimes finding the right venue is the hardest part.
Huh. I guess that would, because every time when you think about it, venues are because you want too big, you don't want it too small. If you want an indoor outdoor field, or if you want, depending on what kind of event you're trying to get to, I can see that. Yeah, venues
and you want it
tricky.
to fit, you want it to fit the vibe of the event, and it has to be easily accessible. It has to be within your budget. It has to be within your size, capacity that you're looking for like something like log jamming. We have 90 breweries that are coming through, so we have to be able to load in and load out pretty easily. So the fact that you can drive right up to the pier and drop stuff off and very nice. They're also very good.
Right.
It's the Delaware River Waterfront organization, so it is a nonprofit within the city. So the money that we spend to rent the space goes to preserving the waterfront, so Penn's Landing area. So
nice.
Benefit. Benefit.
So do you have to? So when you play these, first of all, do you have a team or is it just you? Because please tell me there's like 5, 10 people involved in this.
So I do all the background work and prep and meet with the breweries on a regular basis. But when it comes to day of the event, I have a lot of people that work for me. So I have a day of staff that I hire for the events. Anywhere from, depending on the size of the event, like 3 people to, I think the biggest event that I have staff for is probably Oktoberfest, and that's 30 people. And then, for Sly Fox, we have a couple paid positions, but we have over 60 volunteers. So, it's a lot of people to manage. So you're managing people for a day to really, bring out the best in them and really hope that they have fun, understand, it's a lot of training. We do a, training session before every event. And then I also have people that I've been working with the last 5, 6, 7 years. So they're my crew. Yeah.
I'm always interested in that, because I know some event planners come down either side. Like, so what is, I guess, best, or what do you prefer? Volunteers or paid staff, like when you're doing events?
They both have their benefits. I will say it depends on the event, but paid staff will show up. That's the only thing. So key positions for all of my events will always be paid staff. And then having volunteers to help supplement that is always important. I love volunteers, but they can cancel last minute or not show up or not be at never have done an event before. So, I have the people that I know and trust that are being paid to be there that will work all day, and then I have people that work around it. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's good. Because I can only imagine somebody that volunteered be like, oh, I don't feel like it. You know what? Never mind. I
don't think I'm gonna come today. But I really need you.
Right.
Well,
I needed
nice
6 and I got 6.
Yeah, I've made really good friends with a lot of people that work for me for a day of. We hang out socially, a lot of us. They enjoy that I bring the sparkles to the events, and it's like a ritual. We do all the setup, and then the last 15 minutes, maybe half hour before the doors open, we get out the sparkles and everybody shares them. So it's important. It's like a team bonding experience.
First
and then
time I heard somebody say sparkles are important.
Sparkles are so important. So good,
See, that's going to be part of the product line of a Home Brewed Event, sparkles.
I know. So the sparkles that I use, the glitter, is a local person that makes it. She works at Meeting House. So Glitter X Bebop. You can find her stuff on Instagram. But I could do a line of Home Brewed Events ones. I think you're onto something. Do gold and match my logo.
10%. 10%.
Pretty smart.
I don't know.
I don't
Oh
have
no,
any
do you?
merch now, so
Oh, you
You don't have
gotta
any
get
merch?
merch.
Oh,
Yeah, get some
man.
merch.
I have no merch, but I have
Yeah.
I have new logos and I love them. So I want to put them on everything.
Right. Yeah, so
So
you gotta put it on a t-shirt, put it on a
yeah,
hat. You gotta
we got it.
gotcha.
That's my goal for next year. Have merch.
Yeah. I,
Now,
so when you're doing these events, is it that the party that's actually throwing the event has to locate sponsors and things of that nature, or you have to do that part?
It depends on who I'm working with. There's a lot of different things that we either divide up, or I do all of it, or I help out. At least. So like Sly Fox Goat races, it's very established. That event's been happening for 20 years, 20 plus years. Nobody can really pinpoint the exact year it started, which I think is really funny. But I know it's a weird lore. It's like, when did the goat races actually start? And there's like two different stories about it, which I think is hilarious.
Goat races probably in 1860.
Yeah, back in the 1800s. But so like they have established sponsors that come back every year. We do try to expand it a little bit, but for the most part, it's always the same ones that are there. For something like Log Jammin', we are actively trying to grow that sponsorship because we want to donate more. We've kind of reached the max that we can make with ticket sales. So to be able to donate more, that's the only way that we can grow that event. We are capped at capacity for Cherry Street Pier. But I help out with that. The guys for Human Robot do a lot of the recruitment as well. So it's a little bit of both. They are geniuses at marketing. So like for that event, I don't have to do anything with marketing, which is but for a lot of the other events, I'm helping with marketing, helping with every aspect of the event. So staff, concept, location, date, time, branding, marketing, staffing, sponsorship, everything. Just making sure that it goes. And it's nice. Like it's fun because I get to work with really cool people and lots of different personalities. So, I don't have one boss. I have lots of bosses, I guess, or people that I work with. So it kind of keeps it very interesting. And it's like different events at different points of the year. So every day, every week, every month is different. Sometimes it's pure chaos, and then like summertime's a little chill, winter's a little chill.
Right.
So I get to catch up on life, maybe travel.
So I'm curious, what as a event planner, what's your favorite? The conceptualization of the event, the actual event, or the wrap up? Like, what's your favorite?
Oh man, I mean, it's really like the most wonderful, beautiful thing is seeing all of your work come together. Just that day, it always goes too fast, and it always like I take lots of pictures so that I can go back and look at it, but the day always goes too fast. But I really just, again, love that like middle part of the event where everything's going okay, everything's running smoothly, and I can just like chill for a second and like just step back and look and see everybody having fun, which is like, I love creating experiences for people that kind of gets them out of their day to day, something that they're looking forward to, that they meet new people, that they get to try new beers, that they get to experience new music or find a new artist. Like that's what I like to do. I like connecting people, and then I like sharing businesses and having people know about businesses that are amazing. So that's like
Nice.
yeah. So I love all parts of it, but the best part is the day of, just because you get to see all of your hard work to come together.
All right. Now it's interesting. We played a game on here a while ago about we had $10 to create our favorite or our best or favorite beer festival. I'm curious to know
Okay.
if you had we're not going to do that though. I'm not going to do that to you. But if you had an unlimited budget and somebody said, make your the most incredible event you can make, what would it look like?
Oh shit. I mean, so I love music and I love beer.
Unlimited budget.
I know. So it would be, I love the Atlantic City Beer Fest and Music Fest, and then also the PAPS Project, which is a music festival hosted by PAPS. So it would be something along those lines of it's half music and half beer. You know, like it's a music festival, but also a beer festival. You know, the Decibel Beer Fest and Music Fest that happens in April. Also love that. So that would be what I would want to do. So it'd be like finding the coolest location, which I think would be, I'm trying to think of like dream location. The problem is like, but it's always been budget. So like, you know,
There's no budget here. What's the dream location?
no budget. Oh my God.
No budget, no any place in the world. It could be any place in the world.
Any place in the world. I mean, I would still say Philly, but I think it would be like somewhere in Fairmount Park, like by a historic house, like in the park, enjoy like creating this beautiful event, and then like having like stilt walkers and circus performers and live music, 2 different stages, and like 50 breweries and wineries and cideries, and everybody's having a great time, and it's a whole weekend worth of programming and events. So 3 days. Here. Yeah. Take it over Fairmount Park.
Yeah, what season?
Nice.
Spring, winter, spring, summer, fall?
I love the fall. I wish I could like double the amount of time that fall happens. So I would say October, like middle of October.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's 80 degrees right now, so
I know. It's like,
I know that's a little weird. That's a little weird, but
you can do,
but it's not humid. If it was 80 degrees in the summertime, it'd be humid.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's nice out. I can do anywhere from like 50 to 80. That's a good range. We're good.
Nice. 50 to 80. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. 3-day festival, ciders, wines, beers,
Wine,
music.
You go all 3 days.
Like all my favorite bands. Oh, actually, I changed my location. Laurel Hill Cemetery. I've always been at Laurel Hill Cemetery. It's so fucking cool that they can use public space like that and create awareness about Laurel Hill and fundraise for Laurel Hill by doing events and like having people come and like be there. You know, it's kind of like before there was a lot of public parks, like people would hang out in cemeteries. You know, that was where you like would go picnic and go for your strolls and like, because it was curated. Like there's gardens and caretakers and open space. So
I did play football in the graveyard before, so
really
that is true. It is kind of
all right.
Yeah.
Well, like in LA, they watch the movies in like LA at like where the famous people are buried. They
At
do
the
like
cemetery?
movies there. Yeah, in the cemetery. So yeah, I get it.
Oh.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah,
where that person? So they'll watch that person's movie.
No, they watch like a lot of classic movies, and a lot of classic Hollywood stars are buried there. I forget what the name of the cemetery is, but yeah, interesting. I don't know, because when you said cemetery, I thought like a Halloween thing. But if it's just a nice time of year, I guess it don't have to be. It don't have to be Halloween. But you did say October, so that makes you even think more.
Somebody grab your shoulder and you turn around. Right there.
We could have like during the day is like, you know, normal, and then in the evening we could do ghost stories around the fire, you know, like it could be both. Semi spooky. I'm all about that.
Yeah, all it takes is that one shoulder grab and nobody's standing next to you. You're gonna be like,
or ankle grab, or ankle.
Yeah, the ankle grab is the worst.
Ankles.
That's horrible.
Now I'm going back to
that's a good Halloween idea though.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. like from 2016, I guess, until now, like, do you keep a running count, like how many events you have done? Like, do you know in your head, like how many I've done?
I mean, so it's like big events, I'll do like 12 to 18 a year. So that would be like the festivals, the beer festivals. You know, for April to June, I have events almost every weekend, and then September to November events almost every weekend. Sometimes there's outliers, but mostly, you know, those like 6 months are really crazy. And then I do like anywhere from 5 to 20 like beer classes a year. So depending on how much time I have, you know, it's been hard finding like a good place to do classes just because you need like a separate location. It can't be like too loud because you want to be able to talk,
Right.
and having space to like sit down. So, you know, good partners. Like I love working with Cartesian. I've had good luck with Sly Fox and Hidden River, you know, doing classes over the years. So trying to go back to the people that like are really awesome to work with and have a good space for it.
And then you also do like yoga and stuff too, like, right?
Yeah,
You do everything.
so I got my yoga teacher certification in January. So it was about 8 months because it's 200 hours. So I had to do classes and the training for 200 hours. So over those 8 months, which I only missed one weekend for events, which is very impressive. um, it just like I looked at the schedule and it kind of like lined up perfectly. So I'm like, I have to do it. This is the time. I'm only missing one weekend. I can do this. So I'm very thankful for Monarch because I did make up that weekend, but like the fact that I was able to be there. So it was last year, and then I graduated January of this year. And it's been really fun. I get to work with, you know, because I could go the like working at the studio route, but I decided to do my own thing because that's kind of what I'm doing now
Right.
with events. So I teach at Manatani Stillworks in Fishtown, which is a distillery, and then 2 locals in West Philly.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, hey, why stop? Yoga is big at breweries, and you already got the connection. So I mean, hey, I do it myself. I got it, guys.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's like I get to work with places that I have a good relationship with, and you know, I love the brothers from 2 locals. You know, they're relatively new, so just trying to get people out to their space is, you know, very important, and you know, something that I really want to help them with. Also, we talked about maybe working on like a birthday anniversary celebration together too. So that might be
Nice.
coming up in January. So hopefully.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so, well, that was kind of on the theme of what I was going. What is up next for Home Brewed Events? Like what events or festivals or things that are happening soon?
Yeah. So the next big one will be Toast to Philadelphia, which is going to be November 2nd. It's going to be at Cherry Street Pier. It is a fundraiser for the Caring People Alliance, which is the Boys and Girls Club of Philadelphia. It's a, you know, beer, spirits, wine, kombucha, coffee, all beverage tasting. And then we have a couple food vendors as well doing some tastings, pickles, cheese. We have like Wana Tamale, which is a South Philly restaurant. We have like custard, you know, just a bunch of like small bites. And then some workshops. So it's going to be a wine workshop, beer workshop, and cocktail workshop during the event. Just a lot of fun. It's going to be an afternoon, 12 to 5. So 12 to 1 is VIP, and then 1 to 5 will be GA. Sort of similar format to Log Jamming.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the
Sounds
next.
like,
I have a couple of classes in November, doing a botanical and beer class with Cartesian, and the ladies of Sacred Path. So we're doing, you know, talking about the history of botanicals, health benefits, how people use them, how they used to use them, and then how they're incorporated into beer and spirits. So really fun. That's going to be November 16th. Doing a yoga class for the full moon on November 14th with 2 locals, and whiskey, or not whiskey, a rum called Siege of Wolves, Howl of the Moon, full moon. All moon and wolf themed playlist. It's going to be silly and fun, and then cocktails afterwards with the rum.
Okay.
So November
Nice.
14th.
And I guess I should ask this earlier. Like now, do you do? I'm curious. Now, do you throw your do you throw your own big events, or or is it always partnership with another organization, or do you like, hey, this is all home brewed event?
Yeah, so I work with people more than I do my own events. I have in the past done some big stuff. It just depends on what's happening for the year. I in 2017 and 2018 ran a vegan food and beer festival called The Seed. Not The Seed. It was before The Seed in Atlantic City. Which I think is funny. I always kind of giggle about that because it was named exactly the same thing, and I love both of them. That was at the Rivers Casino. It was a lot of fun, but I think it was ahead of its time. I think if I brought that back, it would be successful.
When was that?
What was that?
When was that you did that?
2017 and 2018.
Oh
So,
yeah, it'll be crazy now because everybody vegan now.
I know.
And you said it was what? You said it was a vegan and beer festival? No, I'm just
He put it in his food. We're gonna link up with The Seed in Atlantic City and go ahead and
so we've been
we're
talking
gonna call it
about
the Sprout.
I love them so much. I would fully I would love to do an event with them. We've talked about doing a mixed fermentation saison festival for a couple of years. So I'm hoping next year that'll come together with The Seed in Atlantic City.
Nice.
That would be
All right.
amazing. But Jersey has weird liquor laws, so
that's
yeah, that's the fact.
somehow harder than Pennsylvania.
All right. Do we have any more questions for Meredith?
I do have a question. One more question.
Yeah.
So, are you referred? Does somebody have to do a referral for you, or is it that anybody can just reach out to you and say, "Hey, I got an event. I need you."
Yeah, I have been lucky that people have either met me at events and we've connected that way, or I've been recommended. Human Robot connected me with the Caring People Alliance for the Toast of Philadelphia. So it's kind of a little bit of both, but I mean, anybody can reach out, and if it makes sense, for you, for me, timing wise, I always try to see if it works, if it's something that I can do, depending on the time of year, my capacity, and then also what they're looking for. So yeah.
So if you get that all black car with her name on it, you're in. I feel like it's like a hitch.
It's fun. It's I get connected with a lot of different people, and I get to work with a lot of cool breweries and a lot of cool cideries. I get to work with Plowman Cider as well. I did a big cider festival with them in Adams County this past year. What am I saying? we reincarnated the PA Cider Festival that kind of stopped during pandemic. We brought it back this year. And we had over 20 different cideries from all over Pennsylvania. That's in June, and it's going to be Father's Day weekend next year. So lots of fun, lots of bluegrass music, and the punk cellist played as well. And we had goats penning. There's always beer. Lots of beer and goats.
Wow.
I don't know.
Get the connection. What's the connection between beer and goats?
Well, for Sly Fox, for that one, it was just because they're cute and people wanted to snuggle baby goats. But for the Sly Fox one, it's because they released their Bock beer. So Bock is goat in German.
Oh yeah.
So Bock, a lot of Bock beer brands have goats on their label, but that's the connection, and that's the loose connection as to how the goat races started. The infamous goat races.
And I'm sure they couldn't get a fox race insured, so I'm sure.
Fox race.
Yep.
Yeah, they need something that's not going to attack people or the other animals.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Any more questions, Joe?
No, I'm good. I don't have any. Lou,
All right,
Lou,
well,
what about you, Lou? You got any questions? No, I'm good.
He said he good. Yeah, he said that Wi-Fi went out from the whole community.
Oh
Yeah, he
no.
Maybe that's why he was so shaky earlier.
Yeah,
Oh.
probably. And it was already teeing up. All right. Well, we want to thank Meredith Rebar for coming on the podcast.
Yes, thank you. We
Thank you,
appreciate you
guys.
for taking your time out. Taking the
Yeah,
time
this
out
is
your
great.
night.
Before we go, we always like to know how people can find you on these World Wide Webs, how you can get in touch with you, keep up with the events that you're doing. Like, how can they find more about Home Brewed Events?
Yeah, so social media is the best place to go. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Home Brewed Events for both of them. Basically, I share pretty much everything through there. I am working on updating my website. So right now, there's no events or anything on the website right now. But in the next couple months, I'll have a new website to go with my new fun logos that Sparkwell Designs made for me. And then for my email, it's just meredith@homebrewedevents.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Yo.
You can find me on IG at IM302YODA.
And you can find Lou Belgium on them Instagrams at Lou Belgium.
That's how you would have said it.
Yeah, you can you can find Brewsing Banter Podcast on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, X at Brewsing Banter Podcast, TikTok as well, if you want to go over there too. If you want to listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, or anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can even say, Alexa, play Brewsing Banter Podcast, because we are on Amazon Music too. You want to follow me, Rob Stay Brewsing. There it is. Beep, 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 beep. Once again, we want to thank Meredith Rebar of Home Brewed Events. This has been episode 270 of Brewsing Banter Podcast. Until next time, have a good week, everyone.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye.
This goes out to all the women in the world, especially her. This is for everybody that like the name. Just listen to what I'm saying and do it and take a change. I put my